Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be Outlaw Half Nottingham's race report. I did that, it's on Wednesday now, so what was that, 3 days ago or something. Finished that race. I'm going to talk through, basically I'm just going to jump straight into it. Obviously arrived there the day before, got the bike racked, had a look around the expo, sort of checked where the transition was, like the run in and out and the bike in and out and swim exit and stuff like that. Then went back to our hotel, actually had a Five Guys for dinner, which was quite nice. Definitely gave me enough carbs for the next day. Got an early night, or at least tried to get an early night. Didn't get the best of night's sleeps, but you never really do on races. So yeah, anyway, up early the next day, was up at around 4, left the hotel at about 4:30, got to the event at about 4:45, 5ish, something like that. Pumped up tyres, checked the bike, got bottles on the bike, yeah, and kind of got everything ready, got the wetsuit on and was waiting for the gun to go. There ended up being a bit of a delay in the race start. It didn't start for probably like 15-20 minutes later than it should have done, but yeah, it was no problem. I'm kind of going to go into like quite a bit of detail with the event, just to both document a few things, really, to document the mistakes I made, because I did make a few. Learned quite a few lessons across all 3 disciplines, and I want to make sure I kind of got it documented, and if anyone can learn anything, then that's also good as well. So I bought some breakfast to have with me, and whilst I was waiting for this is kind of what reminded me, whilst I was waiting for the swim start, I actually could feel my belly rumbling. I definitely didn't eat enough breakfast because I was up so early. I wasn't hungry. I never really get too hungry in the mornings at the best of times, so I just opted to not have a lot of food at all. That was definitely a mistake, because after you've been up hour and a half, 2 hours, you do start getting hungry. So yeah, whilst I was waiting for the swim to start, I could feel my belly rumbling, which is really not a good sign. So yeah, that was definitely a mistake and a lesson learned. I don't think it affected me throughout the race too much, but I mean, I don't know. It's my first ever middle distance, so I don't know what to compare it to. So yeah, next time I'm definitely going to eat more before the race starts. But anyway, gun went off. I didn't do my dive in the water. Something that I'll get onto a bit later as well is my positioning within the 1,500 odd people that did it was terrible. I started way too far back. My race number was 4:35. I probably started, I don't know, around there somewhere, and within the first sort of 5 minutes of the swim, I was bumping into all sorts of people. I was trying to swim through people. Just makes it a lot hard to sight as well, because you're constantly running into people and to boys, and it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. And I never really found like a good rhythm, because you had no one's feet to swim on. I think this is the difference between like racing a race and just having fun or getting through a race. Is, you know, I'm at a stage where I kind of really want to be racing races, and in order to do that, you need to be in good packs. You need to find feet to, you know, well, it's good to have feet, and you need to be with the people that you're going to be racing against. And I think I started way too far back, which made the swim, I think, harder than it needed to be. I basically came out with I think my official time was 32 minutes, pretty much on the dot. Which was a 1:29 per 100 yards. It gave me, which, to be fair with you, it's not a bad swim, but I think I could have made it easier. And another thing that I did was, in practice, I practiced with a wetsuit on, but not with a tri-suit and a wetsuit, and my shoulders were on fire within the first few minutes. And again, I don't know if that's because when you have to sight more as well, you almost, your stroke isn't the same because your head's up, so you kind of, I feel like it burns out my shoulders more the more I have to sight. Again, that might be from not practicing enough and stuff, but that was something that I found. My shoulders, it was a lot more sore than I was expecting them to be throughout the swim. But anyway, got that done, and it was what it was. I think it was actually, for some reason, ended up being a bit of a slower sim for quite a lot of people. So I'm happy with the time that I came out with, 32 minutes on the dot. T1, got out the swim. Yeah, T1 was slow. It was dreadful. I took way too much time. It's just, yeah, I know. I mean, it wasn't dreadful. It was just over 4 minutes, I think, and I think it could should have been around the 3:30, possibly even down towards the 3 minutes. Something that I did do, which I know a lot of the pros and really fast guys do, which I didn't, was they don't put on socks. They obviously leave their cycling shoes clipped into their pedals and run out of their bike like that. I did none of that. I took my wetsuit off. I sat down to take it off, which again was probably a mistake. Shouldn't have done that. There might have been, a few seconds there. I put socks on. I put my cycling shoes on, and then had to run through mud with my bike with cycling shoes on for quite a long distance, because the transition's quite long at Outlaw Half Nottingham, which meant that it ended up being quite a long transition. It's something that I'm thinking about trying, is to, rather than do the like put shoes on, is to clip them into the pedals first and then try that. I might try it in practice and see how it goes, and then possibly adopt that for the future, because clearly it's the best way if all the good guys do it. On that note, something else that I'm planning on trying as well is calf guards. If anyone has any experience with them, thinks they're faster, or has any advice on them whatsoever, then please let me know in the comments, because I'm teetering on buying a set and seeing how they feel. And then the bike in general, I started off really slowly, because although the water was actually quite warm, when you got out the air temperature was still quite cold. So by the time I took off the wetsuit, and then you get speed on the bike and you get the wind and draft and stuff, both my hip joints, which I've never felt before, like went numb. Really weird sensation and feeling. So I kind of just took it easy and tried to keep my turnover quite quick on the bike, just to try and warm up a little bit, I suppose. And then got out onto the bike. I mean, the bike wasn't exactly eventful. My time was 2:22, I think, which was like a 23.5 mile per hour average. Again, going back to that, just getting through an event and actually racing an event, something I learned was how important, or how beneficial, pacing lines are. So I found a couple of guys that were going at a relatively similar speed, and I just to kind of test it myself, I sort of sat about 12 meters back, or whatever it was, roughly that back from them, and the drafting benefit. When the pros say this, I completely get it now, because the drafting benefit is unreal. When you're at the front I went to the front of them guys a few times and tried to push it just a little bit more, and the difference is insane. I'm mind blown at how much of a difference it actually makes. And so I completely get it when the pros say that now. But the trouble I had was, because I was sort of in that group, I took it too easy. I took the bike way too easy. I sort of was just, I think the trouble was where I positioned myself so badly at the start of the swim, back in 400th place or whatever it was, that no matter what time really I do in the swim, I'm now not with the fastest guys on the bike. So it doesn't matter what pacing line I get in at that point, I'm going to have to work really hard to try and get up to because all the front guys would have been in pacing lines and would have been in potentially little groups that were working together and stuff. And I think if I was positioned myself better and got myself into a better group, or further up the field with the stronger bike riders, then I could have been in with them and done a much faster time. It felt too easy, and the reason I say that it felt too easy, and why I know it felt too easily, and I'm not just saying that, is because by the end of the bike, my legs felt the exact same as they did at the start of the bike, the exact same, no difference at all. And the run will tell you that as well, which we'll get onto in a minute. But overall, the bike it wasn't a slow bike by any means. 2:22 is not bad, but I think it should have been 4 or 5 minutes quicker than that, and I know I have that in me, without a doubt. I think I just need to get with the right people, or I don't know. I think it's all lessons learned. I need to next time position myself. Overall, I came 45th, so really, if you look at that sort of theory, I should be starting 45th out of everyone, maybe, or at least around there, not 450th or whatever. So I think I need to get into that sort of further front groups, and then I'm able to work with more of the faster guys on the bike. But overall, it is what it was. It set me up for a really good run, so we'll get onto that now. T2, this is again there's a lot of mistakes actually and lessons I've learned in this. I've just realised going through them. Quite a grim one, but it's it is what it is. This triathlon is on the bike, most people go to the toilet on the bike. They go for a wee. I don't know why, I struggle with I struggle with that. I didn't, basically, and I had like 2.5 litres of fluids throughout the bike. So by the end of the bike, I was extremely desperate, like within seconds of wetting myself, which actually in retrospect probably would have done me good. So I basically got into T2. I had quite a good transition actually. My shoes went on really, because I already had socks on, my shoes went on fast, bike was racked fast, helmet off, everything was super fast, but I had to stop and go to a Portaloo, which probably, you know, that's another maybe 30 seconds or so. Lost in T2, like easily, that's free, like 30 seconds. That could have been, you know, 5 places easily, just in that one mistake, which is all, it's frustrating, but it's, you know, it's lessons learned. Next time, I'm gonna wet myself, basically. Moral of the story. Apart from that, T2 was good. Got out onto the run and my legs felt 10 out of 10 because it took the bike so easy. It was almost like a warm-up for the run, I suppose. Went out, I was expecting to hold, or my goal was to hold just under sub 7-minute miling, and aim for around a 1:30 half marathon. In my head, that was like roughly where I would be, based on a decent bike. I went out, I didn't look at my watch. I didn't want to look at my watch for the first, like, I don't know, maybe mile or so, because I wanted to go by feel and how my legs felt and sort of judge it, like what pace I feel like I could hold for the next hour and a half. The first mile went by and it was around a 6:30 minute per mile. Again, pretty uneventful run. Is that my legs were so good that I held that literally right and through until the last mile. My average pace was 6:31 minute per mile, which gave me a 1:25 half marathon, which I'm really happy with. You know, out of the whole day, the half marathon is the bit that I'm pleased with. Definitely happy with that. Felt solid. My legs by all means were getting sore by the end of that, because that, you know, that's a half marathon PB for me. So by quite a few minutes actually, I think by maybe 3 or 4 minutes, or maybe even 5 minutes, I don't know. So I can't complain with that. You know, it's a really good run off the bike. I just like to be able to do that off a slightly harder bike ride, which would be nice. But we've still got more events throughout the year. Is there anything else I wanted to say on the run? I suppose I'll quickly talk about nutrition and stuff. So I had a litre bottle in the back of my bike with, I think, 60 grams of carbs and 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I had the same on the front, and then in an aero bottle I had 6 gels in total, which is 180 grams of carbs. Filled it up with some water. For like me, nutrition wise, is to have all the gels in a bottle and then just sip it throughout the bike. It was, yeah, it's just worked so well for me. And then on the run, I took a Precision Fuel and Hydration, like jumbo big gel thing, whatever they're called, the 90 gram of carb gels. Had one of them and I basically just sipped that through the run. I did a couple of aid stations at the start, take some water, like sort of slowed down, almost stopped, and had a couple of cups of water. But I felt, every time I did that, I felt I got cramps in my belly quite bad. Almost like a stitchy sort of feeling. I don't know. It's like in between a stitch and a cramp. Nothing that stopped me running, but it definitely hurt. So I ended up only doing that at like 2 aid stations, I think, and then basically ran it without water. Not sure if that was a mistake. I wouldn't say it is, because based on how I felt and the pace didn't drop off, then, you know, couldn't have been too bad. So I think because I had quite a lot of fluid on the bike, it sort of carried over a little bit into the run. It was a lot hotter than expected as well, so I maybe should have taken on some more, but it is what it is. Overall, I'm happy. Got 4:28 overall time, so it was a good day out. It was good practice for my, you know, first go at it, and I'm happy. Also, I'm going to say one quick shout out to, I believe his name's Maxwell or Max. He was racked quite close to me. He watches some of these videos, and he was racked quite close to me, and yeah, he cheered me on a couple of times throughout the day. Saw him in transition, then I think I went past him a little bit on the bike, and then yeah, we went past each other again in sort of transition in T2. Yeah, and it was really cool to have a bit of support there, and definitely boosted me a little bit. So thanks, Max, if you are watching this. Yeah, really cool to have a little bit of support out there. I think that's pretty much it for how the day went. Next race is Grafman in like a week and a half now, I think. So I'll definitely be doing a video on that one. Hopefully my aim for that is to do a similar swim, go a little bit harder on the bike and see what that does for the run, and hopefully yeah, basically see what happens from there. But if you want to see what happens, then make sure you are subscribed. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned from my mistakes. There's quite a few in this one. So yeah, and again, if you have any advice or questions or anything, especially advice on the calf guards, then do let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you like the video. And yeah, I will see you next time, possibly for Grafman event, or I might do another video in between, but who knows. Anyway, I will see you next time for some more triathlon related content. Peace.